Dr. John Lauby is the Cumberland County Animal Control Director. I've got to ask you about this Bobo story. Okay. And for people that are not familiar with the story, it really is a very sad story, especially if you are a dog owner or a pet owner. Bobo is a golden retriever, belonged to a woman named Nikki Davis and her daughters. They've had Bobo since he was a puppy. How old was he now when he got adopted?
I think he was like 2.5.
Okay, so they had the dog for 2.5 years. Yeah. Well, the dog escaped from the home, ended up at your animal shelter, and was legally adopted by another family. Apparently, a guy named Dan Smith took Bobo to the shelter when he spotted the dog running toward the road. When Nikki Davis couldn't find her dog, she sent out emails and texts. Didn't cross her mind to check the animal shelter. Why, I don't know, but it was...
Where does any normal person go if
I
you
don't
lose
know.
an animal? Yeah.
And you know what happened from there.
Yes.
Mr. Smith, who found the dog, found the owners. I don't know how he was able to surmise what house the dog came from, but he was able to do that. Apparently, he went to the house. There was no one home. He left his business card and said, call me. I know where the dog is. Well, she had already left for work. So he says, according to WRAL, I called the shelter, told them I knew the owner, but they told me if the owner doesn't come down and you don't come down, whoever is on the list is going to get the dog. So Mr. Smith headed down there. He says he got there 2 minutes after 9, and they had already given the dog to somebody else.
He speaks with a forked tongue.
Well, he said he explained the situation at the shelter, and the adoption moved forward anyway. So now Bobo is with Chris and Robin Eaton. Of course, the Davis family is heartbroken that they've lost their pet of 2.5 years. How did this happen, Dr. Lauby?
Well, the man that brought there were several things that were incorrect about Monica Liberty's 5 on your side thing.
Okay.
One, she said it had a collar on with an ID tag when it came into the shelter, and Mr. Smith's family took whatever was around the dog's neck off when they turned it in.
Oh, why?
He says it was just a strap that he had in the back of his truck. I don't know why, but and Monica knew that. I have videotapes of everything that took place. He didn't come in at 9:02. He came in about 9:10, 9:08 or 9:10. And the process is when you have 5 or 6 people that want the dogs, they sign their name on a list, and who's ever first on that list, if they're there at 9 o'clock in the morning, at the door waiting to come in, they get the dog. And but the man that got the dog was the third man on the list, but he was there at 9 o'clock, and Mr. Smith didn't show up till 9:07, 9:08.
Okay.
So when he did show up, he said, "I think I know where the owner of the dog is, and that dog's microchipped. Don't adopt that dog." So my shelter manager went back over the dog and checked for microchips again. The dog did not have a microchip. So, and we said, well, give us a name, give us the address of where the dog. I'll just adopt the dog and make arrangements to give her back, is what he said. So, and, it just didn't seem right.
So the details we've heard
are not quite exactly.
Are not exactly.
No. Had he said, this dog belongs to the woman that lives at this address, I know it's her, we would have delayed the adoption. But his comments were, I'll just adopt the dog and find her and make arrangements to get it back to her.
Have you had other cases like this?
No. Been there 5 years. It's the first time. The only good thing is the dog didn't get put to sleep. And we went to the owner, the new owner, and said, look, here's these people that are the have had
rightful
this dog.
owners, right?
And at that time, the dog legally belonged to him.
How long had the Eatons had the dog when all this came to light? When you called the Eatons,
the next day.
So they'd had the dog for 1 day.
Yeah.
Boy, Debbie, I know you're a dog owner. Yeah. I've been a dog owner my whole life.
Oh, I love animals.
And look, I don't know Chris and Robin Eaton.
Yeah.
I don't know them. They may be the loveliest people in the world. But you know what? If I find out that I've adopted somebody else's dog and this family had that dog for 2.5 years, I don't care. I'm giving the dog back to that family. Dr. John Lauby is not looking for an opinion from you. I've got to my opinion
Bobo
that you've had the dog for 1 day. How attached can you get to a dog for 1 day? Especially here's a family that had that dog for 2.5 years. And Bobo is a golden retriever. I don't know the Eatons.